Hey everybody, welcome back to another crochet vlog. It's Kit. Sorry about not getting this on, getting it done for Tuesday. I had to finish up my final and get it in the mail. It was basically like a 60 plus page compilation in a 3-ring binder that my professor just wanted. Uh, Physical copies of all of our work done, plus full write-ups on like 30 plus, no, just 30 plants that we've learned about over the semester. Ended up taking me a lot longer than I anticipated. Thank God I started relatively early because, oh boy, I can't hand deliver it. So, but as long as it's post-stamped before the due date, I'm okay. And the due date is on Saturday, so I think I'm alright. Anyway, yeah, so we are still working on that blanket, just because I want to keep getting more chunks of it done, and so hopefully we get quite a few rows done in this. And yes, so I think we're on chapter 4. I'll be honest, haven't really thought about this in a hot second. Before, um, previously on, yeah, right. Eli had a not great conversation with Caroline. She went upstairs, basically get ready for bed, and she's already annoyed. And well, there comes a ghost in her bathroom. Marie Laveau, her ancestor on her mother's side, and well, see, Caroline knows that Eliana's the heir, but she can't really get her to accept it. Well, yeah, well, Marie's not really taking no for an answer. So basically, the storms are brewing, and you're going to have to figure it out. This is kind of your responsibility, and could have been written better. Something I need to change and like just adjust is maybe make it a little longer or something a little bit more world building. But it is what it is. This is first draft. So yeah, she ended up falling asleep in the lair in the basement. So yeah. Um, my phone alarm rang at 6 a.m. the next day and I woke with a start. Blinking sleepily, I reached to smack my alarm clock off, but the stiffness of my body had me remembering in a jiff. Yawning yet feeling strangely refreshed, I turned my phone alarm off. Standing, I stretched and yawned once more. Noticing the portraits in front of me, I frowned when I saw the empty one, but remembered my decision. I sighed, rubbing my eyes. They felt so good without the contacts. Glancing down at the plaque as I grabbed my discarded bag, my eyes widened, because engraved on the recently empty plaque was my name, Eliana Laveau. Eli. Eli, in my head, not in the game, not in the game, what? But there should be a bishop in there somewhere. Just like the Captain Jack Sparrow meme. There should be a captain in there somewhere. Anyway, back to serious business. Swallowing, I cast my eyes about, looking for anything out of place, and remembered the tarps. Putting my bag back down again, I gathered the tarps and yelped when they shot out of my hands. The strange magic that the house had surrounding them, that the house had surrounding them and placing them neatly over the portraits once more, with a flourish that I would have been unable to do. I grinned. Thanks, I called out, before grabbing my bag once more and heading up the stairs. When I emerged from the stairs, I wondered what I needed to push to get the hidden doorway to close, but once again the house was one step ahead of me. I stared at the sliding doorway with both eyebrows raised. Okay, that is super cool, but a bit creepy. I shook my head while running up the stairs to get ready for work, since it was a Monday after all. But the surprises kept coming. When I opened my door, I heard the shower running, outfits were laid out neatly on my made bed, and it smelled daisy fresh instead of the dusty, musty attic smell. I opened my mouth to say something, then thought better of it. You know, it'll get really annoying if I keep saying thank you. Huh. The curtain swished in reply, which I took as a yes. Can I just say that would be nice if the house was that way, but also it would be very creepy. Alrighty then. Well, I will always be thankful and stuff, but you don't have to do this. I am perfectly capable of doing all this on my own. Not that I don't appreciate it, because I do, but yeah. Nodding, I went and took a quick shower, brushed my teeth, and did my hair. Running to the laid out clothing, I grabbed a cleverly adorable pair of knee length jean shorts with a stylish belt, a light colored tank top to combat the heat, and a cute crocheted shrug that was white. The house actually could have some fashion sense. Who knew? Fun fact, I didn't know how to crochet back then, and I just think that's really funny. That is really funny. The irony. Heading back to the bathroom, I hesitated, looking at my contacts container. Biting my lip, I remembered last night and realized Murray was right. The magic did choose me. I was, in my own way, hiding my heritage and being ashamed of it. It was my mother who should be ashamed, not me. With determination, I grabbed the trash bag from the bin and proceeded to throw away all of my contacts and fake glasses. The bag was full a few minutes later, all traces of disguises gone. Tying it neatly, I carried the bag in one hand and threw my work bag over my shoulder with the other, running downstairs quickly, smiling slightly when I heard my door close and lock behind me. It was pretty cool. What girl wouldn't want a magic house to do menial things for her? I stopped by Victor's door and put my ear to it. I smiled when I heard commotion of a slowly waking up 9-year-old inside, and simply winked at Madeline, who looked at me oddly when she opened her door. Whistling brightly, I continued to the kitchen, where Caroline was surprisingly not up and about. I deposited the trash beside the trash can, grabbed an apple, and headed to the front parlor. I had a note of my own to write. 15 minutes later, I sat back, pleased with my handiwork. I reread the quotes. Time is what we want most, but what we use worst. There are no secrets that time does not reveal. Time moves in one direction, memory in another. I folded it in two and titled it Caroline. Glancing at the clock, I ran out of the house, saying goodbye to it as I did so, inciting a few curious looks from the neighbors. Work that day was slow as molasses, and my concentration was shot. I kept thinking and rethinking last night of my choice and all the others I may have to make. Guilt still ate at my conscience. If I had accepted all of my magic, could I have saved them? Could my past coworkers, my father, been saved? I got confused for a second, then I realized, oh, wait, we're going there. I didn't know, because I never tried my hardest. Dimly, I felt Simon's presence in my office. I looked up at his quizzical face. He smiled softly at me. Why the long face? He sat down across from my desk, munching on some chips, which he offered to me. I took some and answered his question with one of my own that had been bugging me. Say if, hypothetically, you had two different types of magic, but only used one, because of reasons. What would that make you? A coward? Safe? Or just stupid? Simon frowned thoughtfully until his eyes warmed in understanding. It's about your mother, isn't it? He continued when I didn't answer. Well, I think that magic is its own force. It gives itself out willingly to those who will make the most use of it. Now that doesn't mean that the Black Wizard's magic made the wrong choice. The person changed. Sometimes things need to happen for better or worse. But the best gifts are given to those who will always use it for others than for their own selfish gain. So I say use it. Use it for all it is worth. You never know what you can do if you don't try. I sat back, biting my lip. Simon smiled sadly at me. Can I just say I love Simon, by the way? I love him. You can't change the past, Elle. You can only fix the future. Use all that magic I know you possess to your advantage, but it still doesn't make you your mother's daughter. If anything, you will always be Carter Bishop's kid. He reached over and patted my shoulder softly before standing up to leave. He called out over his shoulder. By the way, you need to answer your phone. Eileen has been calling. That was all it took for me to go scrambling for the phone, hurriedly dialing the number with a grin on my face. Eileen was like a mother to me, and was officially my godmother. I loved her and hadn't seen her in over 3 years. She had been gone on a year-long mission a few months before I had moved to be with my mother's family, and I still don't know when she will return. In other words, how missions work in this department is yeah, this is how long we think we're going to be gone. Oh, we got to keep extending it and extending it and extending it, basically. Bouncing my knee impatiently, I waited for her to pick up. I smiled when I heard her voice, which sounded like she was up in the clouds. Hey here. Okay, we're gonna fix that. Hey there, Ellie. Simon finally delivered my message, huh? I shook my head, then remembered she couldn't see me. No, he just said that you had called. How was your trip? I asked eagerly. I couldn't wait for when I got my call to serve. I had to wait until I was 18 to apply to the council, and she's still 16? Just a reminder. Good. Busy, of course. But that's just how it is. We were undercover most of the time, but the mission went well. No casualties. Eileen's voice, oh, I'm sorry, held tremendous relief. No casualties. There we go. Eileen's voice held tremendous relief, which I shared. Too many times something goes wrong and someone pays for it, often with life or limb. We shared a moment of companionable silence until she broke it. So, anything new in your life recently? She had a questioning lilt to her voice, which made me suspicious. Not really. Same old, same old. Why? I asked curiously, picturing her tapping her fingers nervously against her leg, like she always does when she is nervous about something. It's her only tell. Silence plagued the line for a full 2 minutes until she finally broke. I saw that you have some sort of confrontation in your future. She paused, probably trying to say it more clearly. Along with being a traveler and a black belt, she was also a seer who could peer into the future. One that will determine something big, but I can't determine what. It'll be very important that you win, though. Your success hinges on something. I heard her frustration at the last word. Eileen hated not being able to see clearly, and unfortunately she has never been able to see my future clearly for whatever reason. I swallowed. Her words sounded eerily similar to Marie's last night. There's a storm a-comin'. Do you know when this confrontation will be? I asked her calmly, heart starting to pound in my chest. I could almost see her frowning on the other end of the line, and since when she realized that I was expecting something in the future, and that I hadn't been exactly truthful when I said nothing new was going on. Eileen was cool, though, because she never asked me about stuff like this. She knew I would tell her when I was ready. It had always been this way. Soon. Within the month or even 2 weeks. Her voice was firm, sure in what she was saying. I nodded to myself, thinking so much that I almost missed her next words. You need the bracelet, Eli. Tell Simon that he has to give it to you to use, otherwise I will kick his arse. Tell him it's super important and that for all the blood, sweat, and tears you've given for this job, that is the least he can do for you. Her voice got louder and louder, and I knew then that she was very apprehensive, if not a bit scared. I knew why. She had been best friends with my father since childhood and had been my mother figure since I was born. She felt Dad's loss just as much as I did. She couldn't lose me, too. I swallowed back the sudden emotion, looking up in surprise when Simon's voice rang out in my silent office. Here, tell her there is no need for bodily harm. Simon's voice was steady, as if he didn't hear Eileen threatening castration and other forms of torture over the phone. In his hand, he had the bracelet in question. It was simply an empty charm bracelet, with empty slots for artifacts. I took it, lightly fingering the runes etched into the silver band. I gently clasped it onto my left wrist, feeling a stir of magic as the bracelet bonded to my skin, making it seem like it was a part of my wrist, when in reality it felt like silk caressing my skin. I cut Eileen off of her next death threat. It's okay, Simon's here. He gave me the bracelet. Eileen let out a relieved sigh. Good. Good. Tell him instead of castration, he's getting hugs and kisses next time I see him. Suddenly, another voice mumbled on the other end. Then Eileen was back on the phone. Sorry, babe, but I gotta go. I'll talk to you soon. I might even be coming to visit real soon. You never know. Love you. The line went dead. Love you too, Lane, I whispered into the deadline, swallowing once more. I missed her and my Gramps so much it hurt. I slowly put the phone back on the receiver, taking the precious seconds to compose myself once more. I got up, stretching my muscles to give Simon a hug and a kiss on the cheek. Composed and ready, it was only then that I went to the vault. So we're going back to Grandma's POV, which is actually, again, Caroline. Amidst the giggles of Madeline and her friends, I quietly slipped out of the expansive game room, walking down the hall to the kitchen. It was 12:45 p.m. and I had forgotten about lunch. The whole family was here today, as well as most of the families in the coven. It was going to be a full house today, I thought, smiling fondly. I loved feeding people. On impulse, I stopped by the parlor, intent on picking up my note to Eliana. It didn't work, I thought sadly. If she had magic, she wasn't willing on sharing it with us. That's willing to share it with us. There we go. My eyes widened when I spotted another piece of paper titled Caroline by the original note. It was written in flourishing handwriting, which I didn't recognize. I sat down on the lounge and read it, my mind pondering the words. Time is what we want most, but what we use worst. There are no secrets that time does not reveal. Time moves in one direction, memory in another. I finished reading the quotes, the smile on my face getting bigger. She had magic. Eliana was the heir. I chanted it over and over in my head, relief making me dizzy. She trusted me enough to tell me, even if indirectly. But will she be strong enough to confront the walkers? Just like that, my happiness evaporated, remembering the voicemail I had received the other day. It had been short, sweet, and to the point. So very much like Narcos. Ah, yes. The time when my headset decides, yes, she's not using it, therefore we must close it down. No. So very much like Narcus Walker. Your heir had better be ready. Monday, 7:30 p.m., the old house in Manchac Swamp. It'll also be June 22nd, if you aren't aware. You know the rules. No warning, no training. If the heir knows, it's instant forfeit for another generation. Clock's ticking. Swallowing, I warily rubbed my temples. It was all because of one stupid mistake, made by the Laveaux generations ago, and the Walkers had paid dearly for it. Now, they made us play these ridiculous games. No. I mentally shook myself. What's done is done. No use crying over spilt milk. Not when I had a phone call to return. Eliana would just have to deal. I prayed that she would be strong enough. I stood up, walking steadily into the kitchen, and picked up the phone, dialing the number. I listened, my spare fingers twitching as the line rang. I heard light breathing on the other side of the phone, and knew someone had finally picked up. They knew who was calling. We shall be there, I simply said, and hung up. I turned and walked out of the kitchen. Food would have to wait. I had preparations to make. I hope Eliana is strong enough for this trial. By the way, see, this is Monday. This is Monday. It is June 22nd. So, yeah. Yeah. A little bit of a shorter one today. I'm trying. No, we'll start this next time. This one's like a really long one. Um, yeah. Gosh. Okay, so I forgot completely about Eileen and the whole bracelet thing and everything else. Like, I forgot about that. Which, by the way, is one of the few things that's saving L in this next thing, by the way. um, thanks, Auntie Eileen, essentially. Uh, yeah. Goodness gracious. Anyway, I don't really. So the thing with the walkers, and I think this is kind of where I got my stuff mixed up, because back then I wasn't really doing like outlines. I think I started finally outlining chapters at some point. I don't remember. Sorry if you can hear my chair creaking. I don't remember when I started doing outlines for chapters, but I didn't start until about midway through the book, so I think there's some conflicting information. And this is actually one of those things where I need to go back and world build, because if I knew what had been done, I'll be honest, I forgot. With The Witch's Dead, I got a lot better with taking notes, but at the same time, not the best. So I actually have a whole bunch of notebooks right beside me that I need to go through and like copy them down. There's a whole obsidian thing, note taker. That's really cool that I like to use. But I haven't really used it a ton, and I really should do that for Lost in Time again. Gosh, this makes me just want to write. Um, but yeah, the next chapter is actually going to be rather long, because, well, the trial is lengthy as heck. And then also, spitefully, you see, I was a senior in high school when I was writing this. And I was in creative writing too, and it was this old grouchy teacher. He did not like teaching the class. He did not like fantasy at all. Well, that's the only thing I wrote. And he hated me. For some reason, he hated me because it was just I wrote fantasy. I didn't like nonfiction. I didn't like historical fiction. I didn't like the different forms. He just really didn't like paranormal fantasy. And then there was a girl that was kind of a friend of me. Um, and it's just very, very frustrating. So I remember he said something like gross, nasty. Not nasty. How do I put this? Just rude. He was just constantly rude and too sneaky about my writing and stuff. Always trying to knock off a point for this or that, which was kind of dumb, right? So this next chapter, I remember I went absolutely crazy because he had to read everything. And there was no maximum or minimum for pages. Well, let's see. You know what? Let's see here. So we've read 37 pages so far. Wow, that's actually a lot. There's 206. For reference, A Witch's Debt is 450 pages. If that tells you how much more world building and plot and stuff I tried to do for my second book, because I really tried to challenge myself. So 37, page 37. We're just gonna go for a second here. Just keep going. I don't know. See, we're at 47, so we're already at 10 pages. I want to say it was something close to like 20 freaking pages that I did. I was fueled by spite. Well, we're at 50. Oh, we're at over 20. Um, 60. So it's 37 to 60. How much is that? 20 something, I think. Let's see here. Uh, that's 23 pages. I I I made him read all of this, and basically I got like 100. Yeah. I proofread. I did that. Like I made them read it, and then I and then I took the corrections, and if you fixed everything, you could get 100. And there were very few corrections to make, and then I fixed that, so I got 100. And when I say the look on his face was, oh, it's still one of the best memories of my life. And this trial of the queen, it's a long one. It definitely needs some work. because I feel like, especially now I've grown as a writer, so I can do better. Still holds an absolutely glorious place in my heart simply for the fact that I made my teacher, who did not like my writing, did not like any of it, and who honestly just really hated his job. And he was so rude. He always would say things like, "You're never gonna make it as a writer," da 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 da, which is, not great to remember now because look where I'm at. But honestly, I mean, who gives a damn, right? Just the look on his face when I plopped those 23 pages on the desk. And then he was sucking a sour lemon. He was sucking a sour lemon, and it was fantastic. But anyway, yeah, so that's what we got coming up. And really, that's it from me on this one. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. 37 pages of me reading and y'all listening to my voice drone on and on and on and on and on is no easy feat. I know not a lot of people watch this or whatever, what have you. But for those who do, I really and truly appreciate y'all. Y'all have given me a space where I can share and not be anxious or upset, and I will forever be grateful for that. And it's also a good way for me to reread and just get the inspiration and motivation to want to start rewriting. And I'm every time I end these parts, I'm energized to write. Especially Lost in Time, because obviously we're reading Lost in Time. So yeah. I just want to say thank you for that. I really and truly do appreciate it. So yeah. Anyways, I hope we got a lot of blanket done. I hope you guys enjoyed it for whatever it's worth. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday. I will see you next time, next Tuesday for the next part of this, if you are interested. Or I'll see you all again sometime. Bye!